Jen Perlman ran for Congress in both 2020 and 2024 against one of Netanyahu's greatest acolytes, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I only bring her up because she just does not seem to want to get away from the spotlight. She continues to seek it, and this photograph with Netanyahu was taken last month. So to say that this person has zero shame in her support of a genocide, well, that would be an understatement. She is a proud genocidal supporter of the Jewish state of Israel, as she so eloquently describes it. Debbie has been a confidant of the highest order of Netanyahu, not overnight, but of somebody that has been supporting him since she walked into Congress over 20 years ago. So this has been a long, incredibly intimate relationship between these two people. Well, why am I talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz? She decided that she's going to stick her nose where it doesn't belong once again regarding what's going on with immigration, talking about Trump, talking about how this was a crisis that Trump was creating as a bigger problem than it already was. Well, guess what? And this should come as no surprise to anybody. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is one of the 75 Democrats who just signed the resolution thanking and appreciating ICE for their efforts. Speak on the side of one side of the mouth, speak on the other side, still gets back to the same general conclusion, which is Wasserman Schultz is the embodiment of everything that is wrong with our political system. Debbie Wasserman Schultz doesn't just represent a congressional district in South Florida dominated by Zionist money and voting power. She represents the embodiment of the Israel lobby's unholy dominance over our economic and political way of life here in the U.S. Today, I cast my vote in favor of the Iran Sanctions Extension Act, a bipartisan piece of legislation that is intended to bolster the safety and security of the U.S. and her allies, including the Jewish state of Israel. Would you care to guess when Wasserman Schultz put forward this statement and cast this vote? 2016. So she has been itching for a war with Iran for quite some time, pushing hard for that war. Colin, if you will, please scroll down. So she voted yes on HR 6297. And as we have all been observing over the past 24 hours, Israel does appear poised to attack Iran and draw us into a world war. So I ask you all this question. Would you send your child off to this war to die for an Israel first, America last politician like DWS? This is a person that has voted yes for every war that she has been involved in Congress with. Iraq, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Syria, Ukraine, Yemen, and I think I may have forgotten Somalia as well. Above all else, DWS is a fierce advocate for the genocide of the Palestinian people by Israel. She was also, as I mentioned, one of the 75 Dems who just voted yes on the approval of the actions of ICE, even though she wants to put social media posts out there pretending like she's condemning Trump for what he's doing. For the corporate Democrats, Donald Trump was the greatest gift that was ever given to them. And nobody enjoys playing the I'm against Trump card harder than somebody as grotesque and despicable as somebody like DWS. Colin, if you will, a little bit further down. And this is the exact words that Jen wanted me to post on her behalf today. History will show ICE is an unconstitutional entity created by a lawless rogue nation to use against its own people to protect corporate interests. There is no bigger corporate interest than the U.S. economy's unholy alliance with Israel. Make no mistake, DWS is a traitor to the Constitution and the American people, period. We must sever ties with our greatest ally now. I think we can all agree that this is imperative that we do. And Colin, if you would be so kind, please scroll the additional images. Let's not forget that Wasserman Schultz has taken a whopping, just a shade under $1 million from the Israel lobby. And again, that's what we know of on paper. But as we see, there is no limit. And I'm not saying she's the only one. I think we could fairly say that as guilty as she is, and she's guilty, there are certainly worse, or I don't even necessarily say worse, but she's not alone. There are a lot of people out there that are just as whorish, if you will, for them as possible. So that in itself is a problem. And I remind you all that as long as these are elected officials, it will never, ever get better until we get rid of them. So I don't know how much more people are going to be willing to put up with. But I know that as of right now, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And people like Wasserman Schultz are going to double down on the absurdity of their political ideology, which I do believe is breaking. I do believe that right now, Zionism, it's not in its death throes at this moment, but it's getting there.